Okay, here's the homework for 215. The first problem is about a fireboat, and it's kind of similar to the bunny problem, where it gives us that the roof of the warehouse is 120 feet. The water shoots up 50 feet when it goes over the top of the barrel. Sketch a graph and find the parabola. So like, I just do a sketch of the graph and figured that it's going to start right here, which is 0, 0. It's going to go over. This would be 120, 0. This would be 50. It would be 60, 50. Because it's going to go over this halfway point would be 60. So then I write my equation from there. So I start with my y equals, so a times x minus 60 squared plus 50. And then I replace with an ordered pair, and I chose to replace with 0, 0. So I'm going to get y equals a times 60 squared plus 50. So I get negative 50. It ends up being 63,600 equals a when I solve. So then I simplified, and I got my equation to be y equals negative 1 over 72 x minus 60 squared plus 50. Now, if you had done this where you had made it start at 0, 0 was the midpoint of your graph, you still would have gotten a negative 1 over 72. Your domain might be different. So my domain was negative 60 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 60 was one possibility. Or less than or equal to, so 0 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 120. So depending on your equation, because your equation could have also been y equals negative 1 over 72 x squared plus 50, depending, again, it depends on where you draw your graph at. But the range should always be the same. The range will always be 0 to 50. Okay, problem number 2, draw an accurate graph of these three on the same set of axes. So the first thing I did was draw my graph. So for the first one, I have 2x plus 5. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And my slope is 2. So there's my graph for y equals 2x plus 5. Y equals 2x squared plus 5. So 0, 5 would still be, because if I plug in 0, and then if I plug in, let's say 1, 1 squared is 1, times 2 is 2, plus 5 is 7. Which would be right here. And then 2 squared is 4, times 2 is 8, plus 5 is 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so then on this side, so then on for 1/2, I do the same thing. So I plug in 0, it's still going to be the same starting point. But when I plug in 1, let's plug in 2. 2 squared is 4. 4/2 is 2 is 7. 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So then this would be, so my graph is going to come out outside of it. So then part A asks, in the equation y equals 2x plus 5, what does the 2 tell you? It's the slope of your graph. And then B says, is the 2 in the y equals 2x plus squared plus 5 also the slope? And the answer is no, it's a stretch factor. Or it could be called the compress factor. So it's a stretch or compress factor. Okay, problem number 3. Think about how you might sketch a parabola on the graph. Do the sides of the parabola ever curve back in, like the figure to the right? The answer is no. And you could have said something like, no, it just continuously keeps going out further and further. Then B, do the sides of the parabola approach straight vertical lines as shown in the figure right? In other words, do parabolas have asymptotes? And again, the answer is no, because it continues, same thing. It goes out further and further, because it just keeps making a bigger and bigger U. Problem number 72, find the equation of an exponential function that passes through each pair of points. So problem number A, I'm just going to give you the answers for these ones, was y equals 0.25 times 6 to the x. So to do that, I plugged them into an equation to figure it out. And then for B, I got y equals 12 times 0.3 to the x. Okay, problem 73, it says find the x and y intercepts of the graphs of the two equations. So to find the x-intercepts, you set it equal, y equal to 0. So you get 2x squared plus 3x minus 5. So I factored it, and I ended up with 2x and x and 5 and 1. So I ended up with 5 in the middle and 2 on the outside. So I want to put a plus and a minus, so it equals 3. So my intercepts are 1, 0, and negative 5 over 2, 0. Y-intercepts, I plug in 0 for x. So I got 2 times 0 squared plus 3 times 0 minus 5. So it's negative 5. So 0. So 0, negative 5. For x squared, first I'm going to plug in a 0. Square root of 2x minus 4. So I square both sides. So I get 0 equals 2x minus 4. Add 4. Divide by 2. I get x equals 2. So I only have one x-intercept, and it's 2, 0. Y, I plug in 0 for x, and I actually get y equals 2 times 0 minus 4, which is negative 4. So there are none, because I can't square root a negative number. Problem 74, the vertex of parabola HK locates the point. Serves as a locator point. So then we're going to use that to sketch the graph. So in A, our locator point, there's nothing being added or subtracted from x. So it's 0, 5. And then it's got a sketch factor of 3. So if I were to draw this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My point would be right here. It's going up, and it's going to be a little bit skinnier because it's being stretched. So it should look something like that. It says draw a sketch. For problem B, I know that my vertex, it is at positive 3, negative 7. So it's right here, and it's going down. So I would just sketch it like that. I would say if it said an accurate graph, then I'd need to find some more ordered pairs. And then 75 says find the values. So g of x equals 20 and g of x equals 6. So I replace g of x with 20. So I get 20 equals x squared minus 5. Add 5 to both sides. I get 25 equals x squared. Take my square root. So I get plus or minus 5. So x equals positive 5 or negative 5. For g, I'm going to get x squared minus 5 equals 6. Add 5 to both sides. I get x squared equals 11. Square root. So I'm going to get x equals plus or minus square root of 11. All right, so make sure you fix your homework and turn it back in.